Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com, and it is Sunday, June 11th, 2023, here with your live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No excuses. We just keep showing up with free picks. It's kind of what we do. Coming off of a pretty fun day in sports yesterday, we had the Belmont Stakes. We had boxing, we had baseball, and Stanley Cup Game 4, which was a fight. And then we also had two other fights. We had a boxing fight and we had UFC. And Amanda Nunes goes out on top as the greatest of all time woman fighter. I think that's always way cool when you have you go out on top. And Wayne, we see so many fighters hold on. We see it in a lot of sports. I think Tom Brady held on a little too long. I think Zach Greinke's holding on too long. I think we have certain guys, they just hold on too long. And like Adam Wainwright, it's about a year deep here. He could have retired at the end of last season. It's like you see this so many times in sports where the guys hold on, like John McEnroe at the end of his career. It was like it almost erases everything that they've done. And then you see Amanda Nunes just say, you know what? I've won the title. I've lost the title. I've beaten the person that everybody thought was the greatest of all time, knocked her out cold. I regained the title, something very few people have ever done, and I've cakewalked through my division. I've got nothing here to prove. I'm going out on top. What do you think of that? I mean, you're muted, but we can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Yes.
All right. You like you said, man. You gotta love those type of stories when they can hang on and actually do it. But for the ones that don't, you kind of feel bad for them, but you love it because you've seen what they've done in the past, and you know you can get that glimpse of it. But when they don't give you that glimpse, you kind of feel sad for them. Like, all right, yeah, it's about time to hang it up. But for the ones who can later on in the career show you that old glimpse, show you what you know them to do. I mean, it's amazing actually to give the young bucks to whoop them up, to show them like, look, I've been doing this, I can still do this, and I can stop when I want to. You just got to give those a credit, the ones that can actually get it done, like Nunes.
It's just rare when you see them like hang on for those extra fights and then go out on top. Like, Peyton Manning was shot beyond shot when he won that last Super Bowl. He couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards. I think he was throwing for like 100 yards a game. He had the killer defense that carried him through. They didn't need him to throw the ball or do any of those things, and he won a Super Bowl. It's rare. John Elway went out on top. It's just so rare that you see it. More likely, it's Muhammad Ali getting whooped up on, in the Bahamas by Trevor Berbick, or Larry Holmes, not even wanting to hit him anymore, just saying, come on, just stop it. This is my idol here. You saw Manny Pacquiao do it to Oscar De La Hoya, and just, Manny saying, Manny almost crying, he's saying, you're my idol, you're my idol.
You honor that passion in them, but it's very sad when you just when they go out like that. And you do wish that they stopped like a season earlier or a fight earlier. Like, when it doesn't go their way, you don't want to see nobody.
Because I think Nunes could have stayed on. She could have just collected paychecks for years. I mean, I don't think anyone was going to touch her. She could have just stayed on, gone through the motions, and collected paychecks and put together, probably a resume that would be tough to stop, like a Jerry Rice type of thing, where it's like, there's all these other receivers, and then there's one guy that has twice as much as second place. And, that's always a tough thing to do. But I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, the fight that you talked a lot about, really, it looked to me like Taylor just never really got settled in and got going. And it just seemed that Lopez wanted it more. I don't think he's a spectacular fighter. I don't think he's as good as he says he is. I don't like the way he handles himself outside the ring. Some of those comments were just, ridiculous. And he gets in with the wrong guy. I'm telling you, he's going to pay for every single word he ever said, and he will get in with that guy. It happened to Hector Macho Camacho when he went up against Chavez. And he finally just paid the price. And then after that, it was just never the same. And everybody worked him over. But a guy like that says some of those statements, especially about the black fighters, I did not like that comment. I just thought that it was, I've always believed that in boxing, that The guys who are the guys get the credit. It really doesn't matter. I mean, everyone knows I'm a big Manny Pacquiao guy. He was Filipino. Everyone knows I love Julio Cesar Chavez. He's Mexican. Everyone knows, I like Muhammad Ali, American black fighter. It really doesn't matter. It's like I don't believe that that's the case. He says that black fighters get more recognition
in
than
his
other
defense.
fighters. How? Why? What the? I mean, that's just like. I mean, because it's like normally it's the white guy, right? It's like, right? And it's the overhyped, the Jerry Coonies of the world, Joe Calzaghe, right? Something like that. It's like, what?
In his defense, I mean, he won all 4 of the titles at 135, and he just feels like there's guys on his promotional companies that may have won 1 or 2 titles, and they're pushing them more than him. But I mean, you got some people that say they're pushing him just fine. So it's just his opinion on how his career is getting pushed with his promotional company. He's actually talking about leaving that promotional company, which if he really feels like that, kudos to him. Like, go to somebody who's going to big your name up how you feel your name should be big. But I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. I feel like Top Rank, like you said, does a good job promoting everybody. They promote Lomachenko. Lomachenko's not American, he's not black, he's not, what I'm saying? I feel like they promote all the stars well. So that's his opinion.
I mean, Top Rank was also Manny Pacquiao's. Top Rank was also Manny Pacquiao, Filipino. It's like they promote him. Bud Crawford also, was Top Rank. So it's like I think there's been a mix, and I think that they promote the guy, and Canelo.
But then when you say stuff like the stuff he says, it makes it hard to promote him. Like, you don't want to promote. I don't care how good of a fighter you are, you still got to.
It doesn't even make it hard to promote him. I personally don't like the guy. It's like, why would you say that? How is that going to possibly help you? Like a lot of people say, like when I trash the competition on here, like which I do all the time, like I call Doc Sports scumbags and stuff like that, and frauds and all that other bullshit, which they are. People think that takes away from me, and I don't care. I'm willing to take it because I just love saying it. It just almost rolls off my tongue. It's so true. The truth sometimes hurts, right? But the thing is that this guy, it's like, it doesn't even make sense, because I always believe that they're going to promote the guys that are going to make the most money. And that's usually the exciting fighters, the guys that, the guys who are just the most popular. It's like, they don't make them the most popular. The fighters actually make themselves the most popular by what they do in the ring. You think if Mike Tyson wasn't knocking everybody out in the first 5 seconds, that he would have been, as exciting as, a 5'8", heavyweight, I doubt it,
No, I'm with you on that one, man. It's just not really to say about it. It's just his opinion, to be honest with you. And a lot of people
I'll say it right now. He's a dick. All right, there. That's my opinion. He's a dick.
As a fighter, you gotta say he fought well last night. Take all that stuff away. He fought.
He won the fight. I thought Taylor never settled in. I thought Taylor got hit to the body a few times. He never probably saw that coming. I don't know. He looked flat, and I think that happens. We've seen guys, better fighters than him come out flat and get beaten. It's a tough building when it's the other guy's hometown.
Exactly.
It's a tough day at the office when it's, you're on the road in Madison Square Garden. I don't know. I don't think that there's any place for this other crap that he's talking about. And, I think in boxing, we see hype, we see the hype of all this stuff. And we know that the fight gets hyped. You say stuff about the other guy or something like that, but just a statement like that, it's like, you're gonna get killed by somebody, like in the ring. I mean, I don't mean like killed, physically killed, but I mean in the ring, someone's gonna beat you up, man.
Yeah, man. He's in a weight class where he got to see these guys. Like they all got to see. They're all floating around that 135, 140, 147 weight. So they're gonna all see each other eventually.
Yeah. Who do you think? What's up next for him? Do you think?
It depends. If Devin Haney drops the belts at 135 and moves up, they'll probably be trying to plan that fight for Devin Haney versus Loma. If I'll try to get the next belt. There's still two more belts in 140 that he can go grab, and I think Rolly Romero is one of the fighters with one of those belts, and I'm not sure. Regis Progress, which is a fighter that Taylor beat, but it was an arguable fight. Like the fighter. Taylor was fighting in his hometown in UK, and it was a split decision fight. A lot of people kind of felt like Regis won. He's from Louisiana, tough kid. So I would love to see Theo fight Regis or Devin Haney next at the 140 division. That'll be some nice fights for the belts.
What do you got for us today?
We're going to go on the baseball. We're going to go to the game between the Marlins and the White Sox, man. I like the White Sox here. Both of these teams have been playing well lately, but the Miami's been playing well against Royals and the A's. I'm not knocking their wins, but I just like what the White Sox have done against teams like the Yankees and the Tigers. Loving the way Giolito has been pitching at home. I'm not liking what I've seen out of Garrett lately. Definitely his last outing, 6 hits, 4 runs, 1 homer. He got the win, a 9-6 win over the Royals, but the runs he did give up was there. White Sox hitting lefties great right now. That's another reason I love the White Sox. White Sox, they are minus money on the season. You're betting on the money line. That's because they get these big prices on the road. But at home, they're actually 13-7 as home favorites. So when you're getting like a minus 130 price on them with one of their better pitchers on the mound, I definitely think this is a good time to take the White Sox right here with a little overvalue over Miami. I think they can get it done. One thing that worries me, I am aware of White Sox bullpen. When their last 5 to 10, they brought that number from 4 to 2 as far as the ERA, and they're a lot more trustable. So I'm going to ride with the White Sox today with Giolito on the mound at home to get this win over Miami.
White Sox always wear their special throwback Sunday uniforms on Sundays in Chicago. Certainly miss that. Everyone knows I'm a White Sox fan. I don't trust this team. That bullpen just stinks, man. It's like they're just
curious to hear you. I know these both of your teams, so I'm curious to hear your side of this one.
Yeah, it's just I do not trust that White Sox bullpen. I think that, I think this one could. Giolito's been pitching a lot better recently, and I think this one could be decided in those middle late innings. And I just don't know. I like the White Sox bats a lot better. I like the Marlins pitching a lot better, so it should be a good one there on the south side.
I got you.
What do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
Got a 3-pack for sale today. I am going to put my best bet, but right now I have my 3-pack for sale, all 3 underdogs, and I have 4 plays all together. Put my best bet out there and my 3-pack. So catch up on this 3-pack. Let's close this weekend strong, and let's cash this Sunday.
All right. I cannot remember for the life of me what that fight was that I saw at the Paramount, but it was not Pernell Whitaker, but it was somebody like that. I just can't remember it.
You saying it was in New York? It was at Madison?
It could have been Meldrick Taylor.
Yeah, he was fire. And that was somebody like that fought like Sweet Pea that fought in that weight class. So that it makes sense if it was somebody like that.
Yeah, it was somebody like that, like Meldrick Taylor. It wasn't Sweet Pea. It was Meldrick Taylor. It wasn't Tito Trinidad. It was somebody like that. I think might have been Meldrick Taylor.
And even if it was Meldrick, that was a firefighter. I got a lot of respect for him, man.
Oh, he's awesome.
His career was dope. Yeah.
Those Olympians, like back then, were just so much of a different class than the fighters now. The Meldrick Taylors, Sweet Pea, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Spinks brothers.
There was a lot of contenders that would have been stars these days. You know what I'm
Oscar.
saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the alternate. Crazy, right? Yeah. All right, Wayne. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate you for having me, Mitch. Y'all take care, Pick Dog family.
There's Wayne. I ask him the tough questions. He tries his best to give an answer that not an easy question to answer for anybody, because generally a little bit off topic. And I tell you what, man, those comments, I don't know, man. David, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. we had, I was talking to Wayne about some off color comments, kind of like just, I mean, what do you think about the guys like when they kind of take it beyond their sport, like outside of the ring, and all of a sudden, you have guys that become making like political statements or, statements about things. And it seems like they're just not even educated on the topic yet. They're putting their foot in their mouth and probably losing, millions and millions of dollars by doing so. And, I probably have done the same here on this show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind them talking about whatever they want to talk about, but, be educated and, don't be disrespectful, in my opinion. I mean,
I think that's exactly it. Be educated. Like with me, I don't touch on like, race, religion, politics, none of those things. I just, I just rip on specific people who have it coming. Like if you're a fraud, like if you're just a straight fraud, like Ricky Tran is not, a real person. It's Jesse Shuley, it's like you're a fraud, so it's like you should own that.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, as long as you're educated and you can be respectful, you can relay whatever message, and talk about whatever. But yeah, it's definitely.
I think what he's trying to say, in some of those things, and it's kind of like me. It's like I'm just trying to take what we do to the next level, and I think he's trying to do the same thing. I think he's just saying it the wrong way. I just thought Lopez said it the wrong way. I don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant that everybody should be treated equal. And, regardless of, race, color, any of those other things, religion, whatever, beliefs, any of that stuff, everyone should be based on what they've done in the ring. But I don't think that that's the case. And he could have left it at that, and it would have been a different story. But it's like to specifically, to get a little too specific sometimes. It's kind of like me, I do the same thing. I get too specific with some people because I hate them. Anyways. What do you got cooking for us today at Pick Dogs?
Well, I was gonna talk about the under in that Marlins White Sox game, but I'll save that so we don't talk about the same game twice. I do like the under 8 in that Marlins White Sox game though. But I'll go over to Houston and Cleveland. Interesting matchup. The first game I know we talked about on Friday night was a heartbreaker for both of us. But Houston got the win last night, 6-4. Today, interesting pitching matchup. We got Bieber versus Bielak. And a lot of people are sleeping on Brandon Bielak. And, he's not a big name and doesn't have a great whip, but he doesn't allow a ton of earned runs. In his last 5 starts, he's allowed 3, 1, 4, 1, and 1 in terms of earned runs. So he's keeping teams off the board. Now, in his last start against Toronto, he did allow 10 hits. Which is obviously a lot, but he went 6.2 innings. Bieber has been all right. He's not as dominant as he was. He allowed 7 earned runs to Baltimore 2 starts ago. He did hold Boston to 1 earned run in his last start. But I like the Astros in this game. I think Houston, the bats are starting to come alive. Altuve's in the lineup. I know they're dealing with some injuries, but honestly, I like Brandon Bielak, and I'm going to take the Astros at plus money here to get the win.
I'm with you in this one. I like it. I don't think Bieber's the same pitcher that he was, and I think if he was the same pitcher that he was, that's weird. If he was the same pitcher that he was historically, then I think we would see a lot bigger odds here than we're seeing in this game, even though it's the Astros, and it's just, I don't know what it is. It's like, he's just not. He used to be a guy that you could count to be this 0 runs, 1 run, or 2 run every time out. He's just not the same right now. So I'm with you. I think the Astros. I'm not saying the Guardians are a bad team. They're not a bad team. But the thing is, the Astros, they just beat up on these teams with losing records, man. They just slaughter them. So
yeah, and Houston's beaten up on the White Sox. They're 15-6 in the last 21. So they've got their number. Not that really means anything, but they've got their number. And like I said, Bielak, he's not terrible. You know what I mean? Houston's dealing with a lot of pitching injuries, so it's kind of forced him into a bigger role, but he's held his own this year. And that Cleveland offense now, Jose Ramirez is picking it up. I mean, he's on an insane run over the last couple of days, but the Cleveland offense is nothing to write home about either.
That game on Friday, that extra innings game, that was really something else. That's one of those games that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Was that
It was
Thursday or Friday? I can't remember.
I think it was Friday. It was entertaining though. It was a great game. But
Great game because it was one of those ones where it's like there was scoreless innings, there was runs, innings where both teams scored. It's kind of like it had everything.
It drives me. I don't know why, but it drives me insane when teams go to extra innings and can't score when the runner starts on second. I know it happens all the time, but it just drives me insane. Like bunt them over, get a guy on third with one out, and just at least get one in. And I know no one thinks that way, but
they don't do it. No, because most of these guys won't bunt. They won't bunt. They won't sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a lost art.
It's like they'll take the sacrifice fly if it's a home run that comes up short, but they won't. But they won't bunt. They won't bunt the guy over.
I know. Yeah, that small ball is just dead.
That's what they do. Yeah, it is dead. But I'll tell you, if you ever saw like Aaron Judge bunt, man, in extra innings in a spot like that, the guy would definitely get over, and he would probably be safe at first.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand too, when you have guy like, your 3, 4, 5 hitters up, but 70, 80% of a lineup should be able to bunt a runner over. You know what I mean?
They don't do it.
No. And it just drives me nuts. It's like you're in extra innings, at least get one run. At least give me a chance here.
What do you got going on in Pick Dogs today?
So premiums, I have my MLB 3-pack. And I also have a premium play on the early game here starting in about an hour on the Diamondbacks and the Tigers. So plenty of baseball action today for me. It's had a rough Friday night baseball wise. Yesterday was a little bit better, and but have had a good season overall on the Diamonds. So we look to stay hot here.
Well, Rod Zawacky hit pretty decently on that Belmont yesterday, but doesn't mean we're going to count that towards his NHL season record. So don't worry about that.
All right, I was worried. I lost sleep last night worrying about that.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, Mitch. Have a good one.
Thanks. Dave Racey, newer handicapper on our site, but he's been with us for a long time as a writer. It's his second stint with us. He wrote for us when he was in college. It's kind of, we have a few people, I'm not going to mention who they are in our writers and handicappers who are like engaged right now. We have, one that got married yesterday, and we're a Pick Dogs family. It's like we're heading into my 15th year here of doing these websites with Sports Chat Place and Pick Dogs. And it's like, man, we experience life together. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, you think you're just here picking games, and a lot of people, this is what they see, is me on here, calling Doc a piece of shit or something. And, I think that, that's all of who I am. And it's just part of who I am. Right. I mean, that is part of me. Right? I'm not going to deny it. Anyways, El Ninos, you're back. After yesterday's argument, you had a big day yesterday, but, like I say, it's not about one day. It's about the long haul. How's it going?
Going pretty good. How you doing, Mitch?
Always doing good. Of course, a little tired, than usual sometimes, but that happens.
It sure does.
Well, what do you
How
got?
you feeling about that White Sox Marlins game? I know we got somebody else touching it later, so don't want to talk too much about it. I just want to know who Mitch is rooting for in those games.
I have a bet on the game.
Okay.
So
let's pass that conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe next weekend.
I like the Marlins. So I think the bullpen is just I just think the bullpen is better. And I think that's what's probably going to come down to with these starters.
I was just wondering who you were rooting for though as a fan, but thanks for sharing that, Mitch. I'm sure
I don't really start rooting until the playoffs. I'm from the Rod Zawacky school of cheering, where it's like I only start cheering for my teams once the playoffs start.
All right. Saves you a lot of struggle and disappointment throughout the season, huh?
Yeah, I just can't. I have enough teams to struggle with and disappoint me on a daily basis. Just betting on the game. So, I mean, like, what were the San Francisco Giants doing yesterday? I mean, if someone could tell me, I can't. I watched the whole game. I don't think one guy even got up to the plate to hit. I mean, for them. I mean, I don't even know what the hell even happened in that game. It was like, it's a late night. I'm just not it's just not into it. It's like
Sometimes they just want to go home, man.
it just seemed like it, right? It was
I
like,
mean, I don't
what
know.
was going
I
on
don't
there?
know what's going on with them this whole season, man. I mean, it's been well, they're sitting at 500, but I mean, I think they could have done better. Honestly,
They
had a
could have done
very
better if they
disappointing
would have had
stretches.
Correa and Judge. They missed out on both those guys. They ended up getting nobody instead of them. They were in the race for Judge. They did not get him. They were in the race for Correa. Did not get him. We're talking $30 million plus a year guys. That will change your roster and change your lineup. So you got to believe that at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline, the Giants are going to be active. And while a lot of people believe it's Ohtani to the Dodgers, I think he's going to the Giants. And I think he's a way more logical fit there than in LA. But it could go either way. But there's other guys out there, and the Giants have historically hit on guys in trades that weren't necessarily seen as the available players out there. And that's where they've done really well over the years too. So we'll have to see how it goes. But remember the Hunter Pence trade, to get him out of Philly. No one even knew he was on the block.
Is that market in San Francisco as attractive now? I mean, it's never been like the number one location for people to go, but
it's the number 4 TV market. So if you're looking to get a stack of cash, it's a great place to be.
Okay.
When you have a place where they sell out every single game, and where you have, the thing is, the cost of living in San Francisco is high, but it's the number 4 TV market, so they have money.
I don't think these players worry about cost of living too much, but
they do,
and the taxes.
Oh man, you got to follow these contract negotiations a little bit closer, and these free agency.
Yeah, you're right.
They talk about it all.
Expertise.
They talk about it all. I mean, Rod and I talked about about the Grant Fuhr contract a few years ago. I mean, it was like the Canadian taxes versus the exchange rates, and believe me, why do you think the Raptors struggle to get players? Because the exchange rate is down right now, right? So it's like when the exchange rate is one way, it's good. When the exchange rate's the other way, it's tough. So it's like all these things. Believe me, these guys, they might stand up at the micro and say, "I dreamed since I was a kid to play on the Chicago Bears." What he's actually saying is, they offered me $1 more than anybody else was willing to pay me. So believe me, it does come to exactly. It comes down to, believe me, for 50 cents, these guys will sign with somebody else over another guy, over another team. That's how they do it. They can say whatever they want, but that is exactly how it works.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get many players that stay with the same team too long these days. I mean, it's
only if they open up the bank, only if they open up the vault to keep them. That's the
you
only
talk
way.
about the bunt becoming a dying art. So is that, man. Retaining players is
well, because say you're Fernando Tatis Jr., right? It's like, what did it take to keep him in San Diego? It's like, here you have a guy that was suspended, but they're still into him for $35 million a year. I mean, they don't talk about that contract too much because they've had a few other monsters on top of it. But Tatis Jr., I mean, let's look at the numbers. I mean, do you consider him a $35 million a year guy? Because he is.
I mean, he's a great player. I'll tell you that.
But is he a $35 million a year guy?
Honestly, like, these contracts is something I don't look at too much. I think we've talked about this a long, long time ago, and I guess I still haven't gone too much into these contracts.
So he's got. I'm a little off. Okay, he's 14 years and he only makes $340 million. So he's not quite. 30 million. He would be at 420. So he's a little off of that. So it's probably about 25 million a year. Is that what that looks like?
Like, I'm sure you have much better, like, other players to compare that to, though. I don't know how much these other guys are getting.
Oh, so here's the way his contract is structured. So this year he actually only makes $11 million this year. This year he only makes $5,617,000 is what he makes this season. Next season he makes $11 million. 2025 and 2026 he makes 20. 2027 and 2028 he makes 25, and then he bumps up between 2029 and 2034, $36 million a year guaranteed money.
See, that's a very interesting contract, because I always thought with these long-term contracts, I mean, of course, there's always the risk of injury and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I think all these, or most of these long-term contracts at least, are favorable for these organizations rather than the player, because we look at it now and it looks amazing. 14 years from now, they're probably going to be getting 340 million a year. You know, you don't know. Like these numbers are getting crazy. Like, I mean, and they're going up fast too. So,
Well, the highest contracts: Mike Trout, 37.12 million; Miggy, 28 million; Bryce Harper, 26 million. Looked like a bargain right now. Clayton Kershaw, 31 million; Stanton, 29 million; Cole, 36 million.
Yeah, exactly. Like 14 years from now, you're gonna look back and say this is a bargain. Like, but again, is it going? It sounds like it's structured a bit better, this one. But
well, Mike Trout is the highest paid, 426.5 million over 12 years. And if you don't think that 0.5 million was negotiated in that 426, it absolutely was. You know, so it's like you can't underestimate this. It's like there's a reason why he got that 0.5. Believe me, they split hairs there on 427. You know, is the way that it works. 2 is Mookie Betts, 365 million over 12 years. Aaron Judge, 360 over 9 years. Manny Machado, 350 over 11 years. Francisco Lindor, 341 over 10 years. See, when you get to these 341, so you're saying like they don't care about this or whatever. Trust me, that 341, why isn't it just 340? They care.
Yeah, no,
Fernando Tatis, 340. Bryce Harper, 330. Giancarlo Stanton, 325. Corey Seager, 325. Cole, 324. Devers, 313.5. Manny, 300. Trey Turner, 300. Bogarts, 280. Look at all these Padres, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
They just picked up a bunch of big names, so yeah, they got to pay them.
Anyways, what do you got cooking today for us?
Where did we get? We didn't even get to the pick yet, did we?
No, we're going right now.
We're gonna look at this. It's a way I don't look too often, but we're looking at it here. I think it's a good spot to do to back the road team here, getting the 1.5 runs.
Who's playing in the game?
Yeah, I'm getting there, Mitch.
You got to say I'm going to this game.
Okay, we'll do it. The Oakland Athletics heading to Milwaukee here with J.P. Sears on the mound. I think is the better starter here over Freddie Peralta getting the start for the Brewers. And I think that while they've been the most disappointing team we've seen in a long time in most sports, they've kind of woken up a little bit lately. And I thought the Brewers would be in a spot to take advantage of the first 2 matchups, but I never liked this third one in this series. Now, it's hard to say that the A's are going to come and win 3 in a row here against the Brewers, but I think that at the very least, and I mean, I wouldn't even touch the Brewers on the money line here. I think if I had to pick a money line, I would still go with Oakland, but I think that J.P. Sears would at least keep this game close, and I'd rather take the plus 1.5. I think we're getting a pretty good price on that. Yeah, I think this is a 1-run game. At most here, again, getting that 1.5 runs on the road, I think can come into play here.
All right.
Taking the A's on the run line, plus 1.5.
Max Scherzer, $43.33 million per season. You don't think that 0.33 was negotiated in there?
You're going to start comparing J.P. Sears to Max Scherzer. No, of course. I mean, every penny counts.
Justin Verlander, 43.33.
I guess what I meant to say is they can afford the cost of living. But yes, you're right. It all matters. Absolutely.
2 years, 86.6. They didn't just say round it down to 86. You know, they just didn't do it. Just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, I guess they'll take every last penny they can get.
Well, what are you selling to pick dogs? You only get X amount of years, so you know they got.
Yeah, no, that's
as Latrell Sprewell once said. I got to put food on the table for my family. What are you selling today at pick dogs?
And about the politics thing you brought up earlier, it's funny. I think wasn't it Jordan that said. I don't want to say too much, but he says everyone buys shoes basically. So he never wanted to talk too much politics because he wanted to sell shoes to everyone. Basically.
I don't know, man. I just wasn't brought up like that, or I just didn't grow up in an environment that was like that way. So it's like we never really. I'm from Miami, and it's always been a melting pot. So I never really knew anything different. I never knew anything different until I went away to school. I never even, I'd never seen or heard anything of that. And, the older I get, it's just head scratching, that people still think that way.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, that's the way of the world, though. But so back to what I got on Pig Dogs. I got 4 plays in all. I got a 3-pack, which includes my $19 Grand Slam. If you just get that one individually, you get the 3-pack. I get a long-term 2-for-1 capper pass to get all 4 plays.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll see you during the week and next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mitch.
Al Ninos believes the players don't care about the money. I've never heard that one before. Up next, we'll go to Jay Briggs. He was up early. It was late yesterday. He was patient.
Yo.
Take him earlier today. How's it going?
What's going on?
Not much. Just looking at a wedding photo that Eric sent me. So
Nice.
very, very nice picture. Happy couple.
Nice.
Always exciting times. Those are the good ones. I'm at the divorce age, but I'm happily married. Today's my wedding anniversary with my wife. 17
Happy
years.
anniversary.
Yep. Which makes her the most tolerant woman in America. Yeah, I'm gonna quit my job and bet on sports for a living. It's like, I know it wasn't what you signed up for when we got married, but I mean, she could have easily played the "that's not what I signed up for" card.
Yep.
You got to find someone that supports you in what you do and believes in what you do, man. It's what it's all about. Teammates,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What do you got cooking for us today, Jay? After yesterday, I talked about how fundamentally sound the Rays were and how they don't beat themselves. And all of a sudden, then all I could think about was, as they're throwing the ball into the outfield, that I had said that on the show.
Yeah, it was a tough game for them yesterday, and it's we got a good series going on between the 2 best teams in baseball. I'm excited about today's game. We got McClanahan on the mound for the Rays, arguably probably the best pitcher in baseball thus far this season. But Martin Perez, I know a lot of people don't really like Martin, but he's been solid, and the Rangers have been winning behind him. So today should be a very good game. I can't wait to watch that one.
I think it's going to be a good one too, and I think you're right. Perez is underrated. He just keeps winning, and that's really all that matters. And McClanahan, I think he's a good pitcher. I think he might be a little overrated. So
fair enough.
And we know the Rays bullpen has certainly been hit. So the Rangers can if Perez can just keep him in there. That's all he's going to have to do.
Yes, sir. And my guy Al was just on, man, and he kind of went where I was gonna go. I was talking about them yesterday and how they are in that mode right now. Them Oakland A's. I know he went plus 1.5. I say forget that 1.5, man. Take them on ML. They're rolling.
I say something else about the 1.5, but it's close, very close to that.
I'm gonna take the. I like the A's on the money line in that one. I got one more game, but just quick A's money line in that one. France. He's arguably been playing better than who's on the other side. If you just dive into the numbers, and the A's, like I said, they're rolling.
Sears for A's.
I mean Sears. Yes,
Astros.
I mean Sears. JP Sears. My bad.
Too many JPs out there.
Yeah, he's been 4.2 ERA. I know Peralta's on the other side. A lot of people like Peralta, but A's, they've been putting it together, man. In baseball, teams, they are terrible, but they win a ton of games in baseball. It's just how it goes when you play this many games. They're probably in the best stretch of baseball that they're going to play all season. I think you ride them until the wheels fall off.
Very hard to lose 100 games. Very hard to win 100 games. Just the way it is.
Yes, sir. But
a lot of games.
The game I'll go to for mine today, I'll go to Toronto, where we got Gausman versus Varland. I hate taking home teams on the run line, but I do think today it's in order. I'm going to take the Jays on the run line. I think it's a great place to be for them today, man. I think they just get to Varland. Varland has been decent. We give him some credit, but in his last one, he got cranked by the Rays, and I think he can get cranked on the road against Toronto as well. Gausman, he's one of my favorite pitchers in the league. I know not many other guys, but he's been solid this season. I think he does enough against a struggling Minnesota Twins team. Not overcomplicating this one, man. I know that Minnesota has won the 2 games in this series, but I expect Toronto to bounce back today, take the last one, and probably do it in dominant fashion behind Gausman at home. So give me Toronto, run line. I think they beat up on Minnesota today.
Everyone knows I'm on the other side of this one, man. I see Gausman, I'm on the other side in a hurry.
I know.
Not one of my guys, and usually way over betting. I really like guys like Varland, who it's not like he has a series of regressions in his resume here. He just has one bad game. So to me, that's a throwout. And then you go back to everything else that he's done, and it's going to keep the Twins in it. The Jays had this long winning streak going and this series of winning, but now it's turned, and now it's gone the other way, and they're a streaky team. So I don't like this streak that's going there. I don't like laying minus 200 with Kevin Gausman, and I don't like laying a 1.5 with Kevin Gausman. I like laying a 1.5 against Kevin Gausman. You're going to get like plus 270.
I ain't mad at you, man, but I think
me and Jay are going to Vegas soon, so he'll see me in action.
We'll get it all in, man. See it in full effect.
He'll see the sweat pouring down. When you bet like I do, it's usually some rough moments out there. So there's some big wins. What do you got for sale today, Pick Dog? You've been pretty hot recently.
Yes, sir. For sale, I have 2 plays in Major League Baseball, and then I'll have my my play for the NBA Finals game up in a little while for tomorrow as well. But 2 plays in Major League Baseball today. I have a plus money dog that I really love today, and then I have my $19 MLB play of the day. Just trying to keep it rolling in Major League Baseball, off to a great start. So trying to keep the momentum rolling forward. Hop on all that over at Pick Dogs Premium.
Early card today. You're gonna put the jam session out early, or you're going normal time?
I'll probably put it out tonight. Honestly, it'll be out tonight.
All right, we'll make sure we get you everything you need to do that. Anyways, thanks, Jay, for coming on as usual, and didn't want to make you have to wait like yesterday after that hour and a half filibuster show. Long one.
All good.
Marathon.
See y'all later.
Have a good one. Next up, we got Eric. What's happening? Speaking of filibusters.
What's happening? Just recovering from the wedding. It was a fun event. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You had your anniversary. It's interesting to hear, you put me on at the end, which I like to hear these guys. Everybody's talking about Oakland, and I always laugh because I've been preaching about Oakland since the beginning of the season. And then all of a sudden you get this Oakland love on a little bit of a run. If you would have played them the last 4 games, you've risked 4 units. You're up 7.5 units. That's the value of the dogs. It's funny, when I'm looking at their numbers, they actually weren't big prices in their last 4 games. Plus 48 cents, plus 56 cents. And then you had 2 games plus 210 and plus 235. But it is amazing how I'm gonna flip it. They're down 34 games. I'm gonna go back and look. If somebody was fading Oakland, how much money they would be down, because they're 50 and 16, and I have a feeling they'd be getting crushed. I don't know if you have the software on your site that already does those numbers.
Yeah, we have it. Sure, we
or
have
have to manually do it.
No, we have it. Let's see. So what are we looking for? Is the overall for the season?
Well, I know they're down $2,257 if you bet on Oakland. I'm talking about if you have the software where if you were fading Oakland, where would you be if you had the 50 wins and the 16 losses? And I have a feeling you'd be down a ton because of the juice.
We don't have that.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I caught Oakland in those games at home against the Braves. I played them all 3 games, but I haven't really been on them. I just think that, and I say this in my videos all the time, and I've talked about this on the show. I think, once Oakland was able to settle their identity off the field, and now it's like, we're going to Vegas. Now we have a direction.
Right.
As opposed to being a lame duck team. And we've talked about this with Big Al about lame duck teams in the past. And, the year before the Sonics went to Oklahoma City, it was like they had like 10 wins that year. You just see these lame duck teams. They just fall apart. And, Oakland, now that they have a direction, that'll start to go onto the field too, because now it's like you're not on a team that's kind of like you don't know where they're going to go, if they're going to stay together, the team, the players, and what's going to happen is now the players are playing for a spot on a team that's going to be in Vegas. And that's pretty cool. You're not going to be outside in Vegas in the summer.
Right.
They're going to have a nice, comfy dome stadium with major sponsors and luxury boxes. And, it's going to be tricked out, Vegas style. And it's going to, be overdone, and
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I've been to the Vegas. I've seen the Golden Knights, and I mean, you see how they do it in Vegas.
It's crazy. It's Vegas style. Yeah, it's Vegas. It's cheesily overdone. And
by the way, the Dime Club had a nice day yesterday. We came back off that bad Friday with a 3-0 yesterday. We had Houston on our dog channel winning 6-4. We had the Yankees winning 3-1, and we had the Dodgers winning 9-0. And it's interesting. A lot of clients, and I'm sure you get this on the site, they always, when they text me about the Dime Club, they say, how many games on average a day?
All the time.
Yesterday's history, today's a mystery. I have no idea.
Whatever fits the formula. And Big Al says the same thing on the show. And,
that might be the most asked question in 35 years from any gambler.
Oh.
How many games do you average a day? Why does it matter?
Well, oddly enough, before we did some design changes on Pick Dogs and on Sports Shop Place, the number one question we used to get asked was, do you sell picks? Which is really bad for business if that's what you do for your company. So I knew we had some design flaws. So that was some changes we had to make. But actually, that is a very common question. That one right there is how many picks do I get? And, Big Al has a really good answer. He's like, I have a spreadsheet. I have a formula. I have this one.
I mean, would you ask this?
He goes, potentially every game on the board could hit my formula. He goes, potentially no games on my thing could hit. He's like, generally some hit and some don't. He goes, but on a Saturday where there's, 150 games, he goes, I could have 25 picks. He's like, but I might have 2.
Exactly. And that's why, like, people say on Friday you had like 4 games in the one channel and 4 games in the other, which is 8 total. And then yesterday on a Saturday, you only had 3 games. Well, that's just the way it happens. I mean,
and the thing is that for the Dime Club, and I'm not a pitch man, for anything like that. And that's like I'm all about, and I've built, I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I know, a lot of people in our community, they don't know, how long I've been doing this, and they weren't there then. Right. So they don't remember. I was the first person to do free picks on every game. It's like, they don't know that, they see everybody else and that we're just one of many. But, the thing is that we've always created products that meet the needs of our community, and all of our things that we've ever done, not 100%, but I'd say 75 to 80% of everything we've ever done, free, premium, tech, whatever, is based on audience suggestions and requests. And I've gotten this request for years. I'm a dime player,
right?
I'm a 5 dime player, I'm a 10 dime player. I'm looking for a product that's built for me. I don't need 100 plays. I just need 1 or 2 really good ones. And I think that's the base of the Dime Club. Of course, like you said, sometimes more games are going to fit. Sometimes, less games are going to fit. But generally, it's a few really good plays. It's not like we're holding back on our premium picks. These picks don't fit our formula of our premium picks as far as the time schedule goes. The premium picks need to be in by 11 o'clock Eastern time, maybe 12 o'clock Eastern time, depending on if it's like 7 o'clock Eastern time starts. We generally will allow like 12, even a little bit later if there's extenuating circumstances. But we don't allow 6 o'clock when the game starts at 7 o'clock,
which is
or 6:30.
35 years getting a call at 6 o'clock.
That's a different type of bet, a different type of game.
I mean, in the old
our
days,
handicapping, if you're able to win handicapping the games early like our guys do, that's why our guys are the best. We don't like stuff people, like make you come hunting and pecking on the site. And that's just not what the product that we offer there. But the Dime Club is a different animal. So it's like, you expect it to be late, it's going to be late.
And for a lot of people that have asked about it, because you haven't experienced that, your clients haven't experienced the football season yet. I Saturday and Sunday, I call them 3 days, 6 days, and 2 days. It's the early alert for the 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock games. And then it's around 3 o'clock for the 4 o'clock games. And then it's around 7 o'clock. And then you can get into that late Hawaii game. So, and then Sunday, it's the same thing. It's, 10 in the morning for the 1 o'clock games. And then it's 2:30, 3 o'clock for the 4 o'clock games. And then it's the Sunday night game if there's anything. And regarding having games, I think, because I've been doing this 35 years, last year I was on my Dime Club sources were on 50% of the Monday night football games. So it wasn't like just because there's a Monday night game, Mitch, we had something, or just because there's a Thursday night game, we had something. A lot of people, it's great. They can still go to Pick Dogs and buy the premium place to get that information. But just because there's a Monday night football game doesn't mean we're going to have a Monday night football game.
So this is totally off topic. I'm just looking at some of the comments here from people in the comments, and this is, I know you're not a handicapper, but
right.
So here, if you think that a team has a winning record and is in first place in their division, do you think they're a above average team, below average team, or average team? I mean, I'm
always looking to bet against those teams.
I understand, but they win a lot of games. I mean, obviously, if you're in first place in your division, you've won a lot of games. So do you think they're above average?
You got to look at the difference between the last place and the first place in that division. So when you look at the National League Central, there's not much separating Pittsburgh from St. Louis. I mean, it's
I look at it this way, okay? And I say, when you look at Major League Baseball as a whole, from top to bottom, right? And you look at the overall standings, right? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the 30 teams, so less than 50%, have a winning record.
Correct.
The team in the comments that the person is referring to is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
I'm not looking at the
11, 12, 13th best record in baseball. Okay, out of 30 teams. This person says, I'm not afraid of Oakland unless I'm a below average team, which in my opinion, the Brewers are, which means your opinion to me goes right out the window. It's like they're not below average. Average is the 15th ranked team in here. And if you look at that, they all have losing records. The average teams this year are the Mariners, the Padres, the Phillies, and the Mets. That's the average teams. And the Brewers have a better record than all those, even after 3 consecutive losses.
But I will
still have a better record than
But I will say, if you look at the actual groupings of the NL and the AL, the difference between the top team and the bottom team is only really evident in the AL West, where you have Texas at the top at 41-22, and you have Oakland at the bottom at 16-50. What I noticed is when you look at the NL Central, you'll see
but this,
5 games
that had a place that had a place in baseball up until this season, because now with the balanced scheduling, it really doesn't matter. You're playing everybody exactly the same that everybody else is. So it's like you don't have more games in your division than you have, you have less games than you've ever had. So the divisions aren't settled within the division. So
for me, as a dog better, it's very frustrating looking at my Baltimore Orioles wearing the orange here in Baltimore, because the team is the number 1 most profitable team beside Texas in baseball. But last year, they were rarely a favorite. This year, they've been a favorite 31 times.
Well, when you play the Royals at home, you're going to be favored.
And I'm at the wedding yesterday, and of course, I'm in Baltimore, and everybody's a Oriole fan, and they're all checking their scores on their phones, and
it's 32 less games against the American League East, where they're going to be dogs in those games.
Right.
Exactly. in a good portion of them. So a lot of that's where it comes from. If you're in a division like the American League East or the upper part of the, or in the American League West, it's an advantage. The new schedule, you don't have to play the teams in your division as much. If you're in, if you're in the American League Central where everybody stinks, oh man, now you got to play the American League East. You got to play the National League West. You got to play the National League East. It's tough. Anyways, what do you got for everybody today?
Well, so my complimentary selection is I love the Mets in this dog spot. I know, the streak finally ended yesterday with the other side. I love I like the Mets. Plus, I don't think Pittsburgh, even though they're very profitable as a dog. They have no business laying 20 cents. That's my complimentary selection. I have one game on the premium page. And as always, the Dime Club games, as you know, have not been released yet. Be later. And that's it. What I will tell you is these streaks, this Detroit streak is getting long in the tooth. We were talking about that 10-game streak yesterday. We're at 8 right now. And the last thing I want to talk about with you and El Nino, is it El Ninos? Talking about the run lines. I don't like the run line in the Oakland game because you're converting Oakland into a favorite. I only like a run line when the run line dog is still a dog. So, for instance, Washington, Colorado, and Detroit are both +1.5 plus money. To take Oakland and turn them to a 21-cent favorite is mind-boggling to me. If I'm playing Oakland, I'm playing Oakland. Would you lay juice on Oakland?
No, I agree with what you said with a lot of things that you say. And some things I don't always agree with,
Right.
like your pick in this game. But the the thing is that I think that what gets discounted not just by Al but by a lot of bettors out there, because we have a different betting community than we used to have, is that people are looking. This is what has replaced common sense. Looking at money action on one team or another, based upon really and 95% of the people that are looking at that are getting it from an app where I can tell you I found out what the source is for those. It's two offshore books.
That's
okay.
it.
That's all it is. It's 2 offshore books that are not even the big offshore books. These are like the small offshore.
You mean they're not
books.
paying a nickel a month like I am?
Yeah, no, they're not paying what I pay.
Right,
or
exactly.
You pay whatever. It's they are they're paying $10 a month and they're getting $0 a month worth of information from it because they believe that makes them an expert looking at that movement. But really, what makes you a better bettor is calculating the value of these runs and of these odds and all these other things, because that's where the advantage is going to be, not picking a side. It's managing these numbers and these odds. That's where the money is made in sports betting, not on picking the Yankees or the Red Sox or anything like that. The guys like Dave Miller, he probably couldn't tell you 5 guys on the Yankees.
No. But my question that I want to ask you before you let me go is, could you imagine the Oakland has only been a favorite one time this season? They are 0-1 as a favorite. They're 16-49 as a dog. You have that free information on Pick Dogs.
Well, they had a winning record at one point this season. So,
but if you take them +1.5 today, you're turning that team into a favorite. That's what I could never do.
They had a winning record to start the season. They beat the Angels game 1.
Right.
Exactly. They were 1-0. Well, thanks for joining us. And of course, we'll see you with your daily videos. Call the Dime Club. And of course, all those other good stuff. Like I say, the Dime Club, not for everybody, but that's why you call the number, you talk to a live person, and you find out if it's for you. If it's for you, awesome. If it's not for you, we got tons of other stuff. Premium picks, free picks, betting tools. It's like live shows, videos, whatever. It's like we got tons of stuff. It's something for everyone. Very, very specific. So, anyways, thanks, Eric. We'll see
you tomorrow.
All right. That was Eric. Got him on semi-filibuster there. Rod, how's it going?
Going good.
So the end of the game happens last night, and all of a sudden a hockey game breaks out, and it's like, I don't even understand. The goalie drops his gloves right there and just starts punching the Panthers player like right out of the gate. It didn't look, I don't know what really happened there. And there's a melee behind the net, and I mean, I like this, and they're saying, the announcer saying this is an embarrassment or whatever. I don't think it's an embarrassment. I think this is the way it should be. That people care enough. That's like you lose, you just punch the guy in the face. And what'd you think of that? And what exactly happened? Because I didn't see what happened. I watched it. I tried to understand what happened, but I guess was there something there that I didn't see that instigated this melee?
Well, Kachuk, it kind of looks like a Vegas player hit Kachuk into the goalie, and the goalie didn't see that the Vegas guy bumped him. So that's what set the goalie off. So Aiden Hill got all set off because Kachuk hit him, and he went down into the net. And
But so
that's
so
what kicked off.
NHL anti-fighting, but there'll be no repercussions, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because they let them go, right? But they definitely deter from having the hockey fight like they used to. But there'll be no repercussions for the scrum because they both hit each other. They both got their shots in, and I am against the goalie taking his gloves off and pounding the guy when he's already on the ground. That's kind of his 2-on-1. You can't be doing that. Most hockey fights are 1-on-1, which is what we've seen for most of that scrum. It's just the Panthers were driving, and they just took out their frustration. That's kind of what happens. It boils over at the end of the game, and they were trying their darndest to get that goal and tie it up, and they just fell short. And then, of course, I'm guessing the Vegas guy said something and probably poked the bear, and that just sets off the scrum.
I see Mills in the comments. In the comments here, I'd love to get his thoughts, at least in the comments. Number one, Charles Oliveira's returned to the ring, and number two, Amanda Nunes announcing her retirement after dominating win. But anyways, Rod, you gave out some horse racing picks yesterday. Those hit. My wife had the exact as well. So is that even though it was fairly good dog that hit their underdog, the best bet was to bet that horse to win. That was really the bet.
Was to win, yeah.
Was to win.
That was the best bet because the favorite came in second. Like I gave out yesterday, the favorite came in second, which is what
he ran. Forte, take nothing away from him. I mean, he was out of it the whole race, gone. Right. I mean, he wasn't that far back, at the end.
No, I think that little bit too long of a layoff for that horse. Otherwise, I think Forte comes.
Also, a little bit of traffic. Yeah,
they trafficked them out a little bit.
Didn't get the racing luck he needed and anything like that. But I think if you had it at Los Al or something, just a straight way. It's like I love Los Al. It's just so quick. It's like you can't burn $1 faster.
And then it's over. It's like, holy man, what was that?
It's like you can't you can't burn money faster than you can lose it.
Oh my goodness. You're like, what happened? I missed it. You missed it? I was getting a beer. What do you mean? What the heck happened?
How about like when they take the turn at Los Al? It's like, what the hell is going on here? It's like,
all of a sudden, they're taking a turn, and you're like, what? They're going around that turn? All right, here they go.
It's like, I wouldn't have bet this one if I knew it was going to last more than 10 seconds.
I thought it was just quarter horses. What's going on here?
It's like, if I knew this race was going more than 10 seconds, I would have gone somewhere else.
What's going on? This is taking too much time. But definitely first in for that, congratulations to Jenna Antonucci, the first female trainer to win one of these derby races. So congrats.
I think just the first one to win the Belmont. She might not be I don't think she's the first one to win a Triple Crown race.
It is. That's what they said. First to win one of the first female trainer to win a Triple Crown race.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So congrats.
Mills believes that Oliveira is back for his belt. Eric's pick was the Mets. Rod, what do you got for us today?
And for us today, we're going to head to we're going to go to the Marlins taking on the Angels here. You look at or the Mariners taking on the Angels. Mariners taking on the Angels. And you look 1-1. The Angels won the first game of the series. Seattle got the win yesterday. And for the rubber match, we're going to get Logan Gilbert on the mound for Seattle. And he's been great on the road, 3-0 with a 3.57 ERA with a 1.07 whip. And then you look on Buddy Griffin Canning's on the mound for the Angels in this one. And you look at his last three, he's been solid as well, 2-0 with a 1.89 ERA over his last three with a 0.84 whip. So pitching pretty well. But you look at home, he hasn't pitched so well at home this season. 2-1 at home with a 4.35 ERA and a 1.08 whip. And you know what? That ERA gets even worse during day games where he's 1-1, and it balloons to a 5.95 ERA for Griffin Canning in day games. So I'm going to go right back here to the Seattle, who ended the Angels' winning streak yesterday, and I think they start their own winning streak. And Gilbert has a solid game here. Bullpen's pretty much even this season, pretty close. Both teams, both bullpens around the 3.4 ERA mark, around that. So bullpen's pretty even there. And then hitting wise, I would take the under here as well. Both teams have struggled over the last 5 games to hit righties. Seattle 1.89 average versus righties over the last 5. Angels 194 over the last 5. So I like the Seattle Mariners to snag the win here and the under.
All right, I like the Mariners in that one too. Happened to catch the UFC at all last night?
I watched a couple fights. I did see the Nunez fight. I was really surprised that she actually retired. I didn't think she was going to hang around.
Did you think that Oliveira? Did you think that he was maybe going to go for the Portuguese interpretation and then start talking English angle? But it didn't happen. I thought he was going there. But actually, all he was saying was Oliveira. So it was like Oliveira, I thought he was going to go with getting the Portuguese interpretation and then all of a sudden speaking English, but didn't happen. He was just saying Oliveira, whatever, something. I don't even know. I think he might be deranged. I think he's got some other issues.
I actually thought he was going to say something, just like you said. I was like, "Oh, is he going to pull the I can't speak English thing?" But no, he definitely not. And it is Gilbert today, there, Mills. It was originally listed as Miller, but everywhere I see it.
Yeah, Miller was moved to tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. So
definitely
Gilbert today.
Well, what are you selling today at Pick Dogs?
And over at Pick Dogs, I've got 4 plays I love today. I got my Sunday sluggers. You grab the 3-pack of MLB there, or you can get my top-rated play, my $20 MLB bookie home run. 11-5 in the last 16 of that one. We're going to keep it rolling. So head on over, Pick Dogs, scoop it up.
Yeah, grab some Rod Zawacky 4-play. Rod, thanks for joining us. Make it a winning day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely. Have yourself a good day.
Rod Zawacky. And up next, last but not least, Chris Ruffolo. Chris, what's happening?
Morning, Mitch. How you doing?
All right. Wasn't sure if you were coming or not. I messaged her to say, hey, what are you doing? Coming or not?
It's harder to get rid of me. I'll be here as often as I can. But yeah, just a bit of a tough morning, but I still made it. Better late than never.
Happens. Yes. Speaking about going out on top, I'm probably planning on doing the same here on these weekend shows. And I believe probably have Chris and Jay hosting coming up. So had a good run. Probably be back as a guest. And of course, I'll still be doing my halftime shows during NFL with Jay and still our regular weekday shows, at least for the time being. And probably doing less on the video side as well. But yeah, I've had a good run. I'll be going out on top probably before football season. Anyways, pretty interesting day in sports yesterday. We've kind of have covered it all from boxing to the comments about the boxing to the fight in the hockey game after the hockey game, the Panthers not getting it done. Lot going on. How was your day yesterday? Eric's pick was still the Mets. It's the second time this guy's asked me. It's time to, if you ask again, it'll be the last question you ever ask on the Pick Dogs channel. That's the way that works.
Yeah, yesterday a bit of a mixed day for me. Was happy about the result of the hockey game. I went back to Vegas, chance to see if Vegas can close it out. But the baseball, it was like I said, it was a bit of an up and down day. Some surprising results, some not so surprising results. Diamondbacks just keep kicking the snot out of the Tigers. I was happy about that yesterday. But I'll tell you, the one team that really let me down yesterday was the I'm going to forget. I just had it on the tip of my tongue, and I'm just going to forget it now. The Nationals coming close against the Braves. They had their shot, and then they yeah, they blew it late, but that's okay. But the play that we will look at today, that for the free play, is this matchup between the Orioles and the Royals, and I'm going to roll with the Orioles on the run line here. I really thought the regression was going to start coming for Kyle Gibson, but he still sits 7-3. A bit of a higher ERA, but that's what we've come to expect from Kyle Gibson. Over the last few years. Last year had a 5.05 ERA. This year an ERA just under 4. But I'll tell you, the Baltimore Orioles just keep finding ways to lift this guy up. He keeps pitches well, and the Baltimore Orioles bats respond in kind. On the other side, you got Carlos Hernandez, who hasn't allowed a run in each of his last 3, abbreviated starts. He's gone 2 innings in each, but it looks to be a bullpen game for the Royals, who still have a staff ERA well up over 4 in the last 2 weeks. I just think this is a spot where you just back the better team with the better starting pitcher. The Orioles have been the better team, over the course of this series, and scoring continues to be an issue for the Kansas City Royals. 2 runs or less in 4 straight games, and 7 of their last 9. I think those scoring issues haunt Kansas City again. And I go with the Baltimore Orioles on the run line here.
We used to have a guy here when I first started the site. His name was Dave Darby, and I don't know if you remember him. That was even before your time, but he's a big Royals guy. And he's one of those guys who goes to the Royals fantasy camps and hangs out, listens to stories, with the old Royals players and, puts on the uniform. I mean, he's probably 450 pounds. He's got his Royals uniform on and out there, doing the whole thing for fantasy camp every year. And even he's disgusted with this year's Royals team. I think that we certainly have, teams that have these, dips, and you can see it like in Washington and in Cincinnati has it, in some of these teams. But you can see also the youth injection and the growth process, not just on the field, but in the pitching staff. But with Kansas City, we do not see this, And this is what I think for the Royal fans, most fans can take losing. Like I always say, if I'm not going to win, then, don't give me hope, right? The worst thing is a fan is hope, right? Like just take it away and just say, it's like that Rangers-Mariners game that I watched last Sunday when I had the Mariners. 3rd inning, I'm out of it. I could turn the TV off, pretend it never happened, and already work on getting it out of my system. I mean, we're a week later, it's still not out of my system. And it's like, it's some take a little bit longer than others. But it's like for the Royals, it's like it's like, it's not only do you not have hope, you don't even see the path, So it's like, where is the future going to come from here, Singer? Lynch? Jordan Lyles? I mean,
I think the Royals are wishing that Jordan Lyles could already be part of the past. It's been ugly for Jordan Lyles, but
or the Royals are now just 2 games ahead of the A's. In the overall.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it sucks. They have a young lineup. They have a great lineup. They got Bobby Witt Jr., Feel bad for a guy like Salvador Perez, who was still with the Royals, when they were at their peak and they were winning the World Series. But,
a guy like Bobby Witt Jr., how long is he going to stay?
Well, exactly, right? Like, they've got to show they're going to be improving somewhere down the line. And right now, 18-46 or something like that. It's not showing any real signs of improvement, but they still got decent pieces. It's just they'll have to start to put it together over the next couple of years. Michael Garcia, Freddie Fermin, MJ Melendez. They have some young pieces. I think it's just about these guys sort of coming together and putting it all together. But I think you're right. I think it starts with the pitching, and you got to have more than Brady Singer and Daniel Lynch. I mean, Zach Greinke and Jordan Lyles don't necessarily scream all-star pitching rotation to me.
Well, what do you got cooking today?
At Pick Dogs today, got my $19 MLB pickoff play. Hit our pickoff play yesterday. Going to go for back-to-back days to close out the week, and also got it as part of my Saturday MLB triple play for the best value. Definitely going long-term, and get a couple bonus plays today that are only available for long-term subscribers.
Who's your exciting player to watch this week? baseball.
Probably
Big on
somebody-
this Ellie De La Cruz.
I was just gonna say Ellie De La Cruz. I think it's yeah. I think he's got the total package. I hear people say, oh, he's either gonna be boom or bust. I think it's like that with anyone.
Boom.
But yeah. I'm with you. I think he's
Boom.
gonna be a stud.
Yep.
I'm salivating at the matchup today with Wainwright for a home run prop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this guy hits it's an infield chopper, and it's an exciting play.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yesterday comes out 5 games into his major league career on the fastest guy in the world. But I mean, he's got a good shot at it.
Well, thanks for joining us as usual. Thanks everybody for joining us. A little bit shorter show than yesterday, not much, but covered a lot of ground. I like kind of going in depth with everyone, giving everybody a little bit more time than they have on the drive-through. The games generally aren't ready to start. Today there's one that's starting, but we didn't even cover it on here. I'll take the D-backs in that one. Big reach there. Zach Allen going. Anyways, Mitch, Chris, Jay, Rod, everyone that's joined us today, Eric, Al Ninos, David Racey, and Wayne. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Should be 7 baseball, 1 basketball tomorrow, which puts us at about an hour and 35 minutes. Yeah, 6 of them spent talking about the games.